let me begin with a question. What is your dream? What is your dream? Do you guys have any dream? Do you guys have any goal? Anything that you want to become? Like your childhood dream? Like what did you want to become? Or you're still a child. So what do you want to become when you get older, when you grow up? So some of you are preparing for college. Some of you are actually going into high school next year. And I want to ask you, like, what do you want to become? What is your dream? See, when we have a childhood dream, it could be something realistic or it could be something unreal. Like, for example, when you're a kid, we want to be like Superman, like superhero, like Iron Man. Become like scientists, get rich, become Tony Stark, buy the lab and become like Iron Man. Or it could be president, it could be scientist, pilot, inventor, actor, or even like K-pop idols. Who knows? But what is your dream? If you have a dream, what is your dream? What is it? When I know I said it several times already, but when I was younger, okay, when I was in high school, I think my dream was to become a chef. But not just a chef, but like 5-star restaurant chef. Really famous chef who make a lot of money and who's travel around the world and become like really famous chef. So that was my dream, but what happened? Obviously, I'm not a chef, right? What am I? I'm a pastor. So what happened? I don't know. I don't know what happened. But here's the thing. We have a dream, and we usually try our best to achieve our dream, to become who we wanted to be. And we apply college for it. We study hard. And after we graduate from college, we try to apply for the job that we want to get, our dream job. And when we get there, question is, what's next? But even before getting there, let me ask you this question. How hard have you guys tried to achieve your dream? If your dream was to get into a good college, if your goal was to get into a good college, if your dream is to become an actor, or scientist, or whatever it may be, so far, how hard have you tried? And how is it going so far? Next question is, why not? When we have dream, when we have our goal in our mind or in our life, and when we face obstacles, what do? Do you guys usually give up? Or do you guys go through it and work harder? If your goal is to become a singer or musician, for some of you, how hard have you tried? And when you face an obstacle like your parents or whatever it could be, do you give up or do you try even harder? How desperate are you for your dream? How much effort did you put for your dream so far? I know we're not there yet. We may not be there yet. But until we get there, the efforts is definitely a must. We have to try hard. We have to try harder. We have to try hardest. But when there's obstacle, when there's oppositions, what do we do? What do you do? What would you do? Let me share the story of Joseph. Joseph had a dream. He saw 2 dreams, and he began to have a dream that whatever that God has given him, that became his dream. But what happened? He did not have an easy life. He certainly went through a lot. But if you know the story of Joseph, he got there eventually. How did he get there, though? How did he get to his dream? I mean, he saw 2 dreams, and he got to his dream, but it wasn't an easy task. I think we could learn from the story of Joseph and how he was able to get to his dream. So through his story, let's find out what we should do and how we can follow and achieve our dream. So let's begin with the story of Joseph for a second. So Joseph and his dream. You know the story of Joseph, right? How many dreams did he had so far? The passage we have today, Genesis chapter 37, verses 5 through 11. How many dreams that he saw? How many was it? 3? 2. He saw 2 dreams, right? But let's begin with this story. Who was Joseph, by the way? Who was his dad? Who was Joseph's father? Joseph's father had 2 names. First one was Jacob, and second was Israel. So Joseph was son of Jacob, the son who happened to be son of Isaac, who happened to be son of Abraham. So Joseph's great-great-grandparents was Abraham, that we know, right? And how many brothers did Joseph have, by the way? How many brothers did Joseph have? 12, right? Joseph had 12 brothers, right? Guys? Yes? No, he had 11 brothers. Jacob had 12 sons. And Joseph was one of them, which means he had 11 brothers. Well, he actually had one sister, by the way. So, anyway, and Joseph happened to be out of those 11 brothers and 12 sons of Jacob, Joseph happened to be 11th son. So imagine this for a second. You have 11 brothers, but you had 10 elder brothers. You have 10 형. 형 10명들, right? Imagine that situation for a second. 소율아, you have 10 brothers. 10 of them happen to be like 종유리. How's that life going to be? In fact, Joseph's life was not that bad. Because, do you know who his mother was? Joseph's mother was named Rachel. In Korean, Rahel. Okay, Rachel. Who was Rachel, by the way? If you know the story of Old Testament, Rachel happened to be the one that Jacob loved the most. We all know the story of Jacob, right? Jacob fell in love with Rachel, and he worked for Rachel's dad for how many years? How many years? 14 years. 14 years. To marry somebody, he worked 14 years, underpaid. Rachel's dad was, Jacob's uncle, by the way. So anyways, his name was Laban, by the way. And Laban promised Jacob, you know what? If you work for me for 7 years, I'm going to let you marry Rachel. So Jacob worked 7 years. And he married who? Rachel? No, Leah, Rachel's sister. And then his uncle promised him again, you know what? I'm sorry, but she was Rachel's older sister. Because older sisters had to get married first, I have to give you Leah first. So work for me for 7 more years, and I'm going to let you marry Rachel. So he worked 7 more years, and Jacob, Joseph's dad, worked 14 years total to marry Joseph's mother. Now, let me ask you this question. You have a girlfriend. Let's say you have a girlfriend. And your girlfriend dad asks you, you know what? If you want to marry my daughter, you're going to have to work for me 14 years. Would you do it? Would you do it? Notice how I'm making, eye contact with the person or people that I know that they're dating. They're like, oh my goodness. Guys, but Jacob worked 14 years to marry this young lady named Rachel. And that Rachel had a son named Joseph. Now, what do you think happened? Jacob, Joseph's dad, loved Joseph more than anybody. We all know what favoritism is, right? Favoritism. 편애, right? So, Jacob, Joseph's dad, had favoritism toward Joseph because Joseph happened to be the son of the lady that he loved the most. Jacob loved Joseph so much. So, even though Joseph had 10 elder brothers, it didn't matter because his father loved him the most. So this is what it says. Genesis chapter 37 verse 3 says, now Israel loved Joseph more than any other of his son because he was the son of his old age. In other words, Jacob had Joseph at like later age, like 귀한 아들, 늦둥이, who happened to be the son of woman that he loved the most, and who happened to be Joseph. So even though Jacob had 10 other sons, he loved Joseph the most. Now imagine this for a second. You have 10 older brothers, and you are the youngest, but your dad loves you the most. He gives you everything. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think your brother would like you? Or do you think your brother will be jealous at you? Genesis chapter 37, verse 4 says, but when all his brothers saw that their father loved him more than his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peacefully to him. This is the situation for Joseph. His brothers knew that their father loved Joseph the most. Not only he loved him the most, he gave him the best things. Your dad gave you like clothes from Saigon Square. Or cheap clothes, whatever. Just wear whatever. For your brother, Joseph happened to be the one who get all the 정품들. Like limited edition, like Stussy, whatever. And he wears it in front of you. Would you like your brother for that? You'd be jealous, right? That was what's going on with Joseph and his brothers. They were all jealous at him. He says, speak peacefully to him. It means speak nicely. Joseph's brother did not speak nice to him because they're all jealous. They all hated him. But here's the thing. This was before Joseph had dream. Now, here comes the story. Joseph's dream was about this. First dream about sheep bowed. So, chapter 37, verse 7 said, behold, we were binding sheep in the field, and behold, my sheep arose and stood upright. And behold, your sheep gathered around it and bowed down to my sheep. This is what sheep is, okay? Imagine this for a second. Joseph had a dream, and he saw the sheep. His sheep was standing alone, and 11 sheep were bowing down before it. In other words, 11 of Joseph's brothers were bowing down before Joseph. What does that mean? If you bow down before your brother, what does that mean? You're submitting to him. When Joseph saw the dream, he saw that his brothers bowing down before Joseph. In other words, Joseph was higher than his brothers. And how would his brother take it? Verse 8 says, his brother said to him, are you indeed to reign over us? Or are you indeed to rule over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. After the first dream, his brothers, they hated Joseph. God, wow. What a donkey. Now he wants to rule over us, younger brother over us. They got mad at him. But here comes the next problem. He had a second dream. Sun, moon, and even stars bowed before Joseph. Verse 9 said, behold, I have dreamed another dream. Behold, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars. Notice it, 11 stars were bowing down to me. What does number 11 represent? Number of Joseph's brothers. Sun is father. Moon, mother. Stars, brothers. So what kind of dream did Joseph have? His father, his mother, and his brothers bowing down before Joseph. Now, after Joseph had this dream, what did he do? He told his brothers, and he even told his father. And even his father, who had favoritism against Joseph, he got mad. So are you saying that your father, your mother, and your brothers will bow down before you? But guys, this was Joseph's dream. This was Joseph's dream. And what happened after he had the dream? We know the story of Joseph, right? After Joseph had 2 dreams, his father got mad at him, and his brothers, they got furious at him. So what did they do? They sold Joseph away. You know what? Their original idea was to kill him. But some of them got opposed against it, right? So instead of killing him, let's sell him away. So Joseph, after 2 dreams, he was sold as slaves. And where was he taken? To the land of Egypt. What happened? She worked like a slave. Imagine this situation for a second. You are your dad's favorite son. And your dad was rich. If your dad is rich and you are his favorite son, what does that make you? Rich. But what happened to Joseph? He's a slave now. Did his story end like that? No. He became a slave, right? But here's the thing. His master's wife tried to seduce him to sleep with her. But Joseph ran away. Now, he was falsely accused. And what happened? He got locked in prison. From favorite son to become slave and to become a prisoner. Joseph's life took a huge downfall. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that was fair for Joseph? You know, Joseph didn't do anything wrong, right? He just saw 2 dreams that God had shown him, and he just shared it with his brothers and his dad, and they got mad at him. They just sold him away. He became a slave, and he became a prisoner. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. But here's the thing. If you know the story of Joseph, we all know how his attitude has been in every process. He went through a lot. From favorite son who didn't do anything wrong, his brother got mad at him for no reason. They sold him. He became a slave. He became a prisoner, and his attitude. Imagine this for a second. If you went through what Joseph went through, if you go through what Joseph went through, how would you react? You get mad, right? Like, what the heck is going on with my life? I didn't do anything wrong. My brothers hated me for no reason. And they sold me for a slave. And now I'm a prisoner for no reason. Just because God showed me 2 dreams. You know, honestly, if I were Joseph, I'd probably blame God for everything. How could you? There's one thing that Joseph never did in his entire process. You know what that is? One thing that Joseph never did, that's giving up. Joseph never gave up. When he saw the dream, when his brothers got mad at him, when he was sold by his brothers, when he became a slave, when he was falsely accused, when he was locked in prison, when everything bad happened, one after another, and when things got just worse and worse and worse, Joseph never gave up. Why did he not give up? Why not? He never complained. He never stopped believing. He never blamed others, even though he didn't do anything wrong. He never gave up. He had every reason to give up. He literally had every right reason to give up. And nobody could blame him for giving up, even if he did. But why not? The difference between one who gives up one who don't is this. It's called faith, guys. It's called faith. Not just faith in yourself, but it's about believing in Jesus Christ. Believing God. When Joseph saw two dreams, he knew immediately that the dream came from God. In other words, he knew that the dream that he's going to achieve in the end, it's not going to be him who's going to do it all. But it's going to be God who's going to help Joseph to achieve that dream. And because he believed in God, because he believed that God's going to help him, Joseph, from the beginning to the entire process, he was righteous before God. He was faithful to God. He never stopped believing. That's why he never gave up. When we are young, or when you are young, I'm sure you guys were asked this question. Like all these 어른들, your parents, your relatives, your uncles, your aunts, they probably asked you this question. What is your dream? What do you want to become? 너 커서 뭐 될 거야? And what was your answer, by the way? My answer in elementary school, I want to become a comedian. In the middle school, I had no dream. In high school, I want to become a chef. In college, I want to become a missionary. Those are our dreams, guys. Those are your dreams. Is it wrong to have such dream? Is it wrong that you want to become such, whatever that your dream is? Guys, there is no right or wrong answer about your dream. You can be whatever you want to. You can have whatever occupation that you want to have. You can take whichever direction that you want to take. But just remember one thing though. The decision that you make, you have to be responsible for. Whatever direction that you want to do or you want to go, whatever occupation that you want to have, whatever major that you choose to have in college, that's fine. But just remember one thing. You're responsible for your own decision. It's not God, but it is you. But just remember this. How we get there is different of how or what we do. Joseph had a dream of ruling over people, not just his family, but over people. And he knew it would eventually happen. He knew he would eventually get to that dream. People didn't like it. People didn't agree with it. People hated him for it. People betrayed him. And he went through a lot. But throughout the entire process, Joseph was one thing. Joseph was always faithful to God. And he stayed away from sin. And what happened? God blessed him. God blessed Joseph, and God made his dream come true. I want to encourage you this. Have a dream, guys. Whatever dream it could be, have it. Dream on it. Keep dreaming. There's nothing wrong with your dream. Your parents may not agree with it, or some people will laugh at you for whatever dream that you may have. You know what? I want to become a pilot. Oh, God. Oh, whatever. I want to become a singer. Whatever. But just remember one thing. What matters the most is not about what you do, but it's about how you get there. And how you work hard to get to your dream. There's one golden formula about this, and comes in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Let's read together. Everybody? 1, 2, 3, go. So, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. How? Do all to what? To the glory of God. Guys, your dream is not bigger than the glory of God. Let me reverse it for a second, okay? God doesn't care what you do. He's not indifferent about it. He doesn't care about what you do. He doesn't care whether you want to become a singer, inventor, scientist, professor, whatever job. He doesn't care. But he cares about one thing and one thing only. Are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for the glory of God? Is it for yourself, or is it for me? You know, there's misconception about Christianity. People believe that, you know what, if you're a Christian, if you're a believer, you should not become a rich person. Because Christians should be away from money, right? You know, we are told that, you know what, if you're a Christian, you should not love money. So which means if you're rich, you probably did a lot of illegal things, right? But here's the thing, there are a lot of rich Christians, guys. You know, in fact, a lot of the richest people in the world, they're Christians. But are they wrong because they're rich? No. Guys, you can become a rich, it's fine. You can try to become rich, that's fine. You can dream to become rich, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. But remember one thing. Are you trying to become a rich person because you have a greed in yourself, that you're so greedy? Or are you trying to become a rich person so you can glorify God? That's very different direction. I want you guys to have a dream. It could be unrealistic dream, guys. It could be realistic, or it could be unrealistic dream, whatever it could be. But I want you guys to dream big. And that dream is to glorify God. Joseph had a dream. His dream was to become a ruler. God showed him, he believed, he followed God. Whatever process he had to go through, he followed. Hatred, blasphemy, accusation, yeah, whatever you name it. But he never gave up. Guys, it is so important for your age to have a dream, goal. It could be occupation. It could be something different level. It could be social status. It could be whatever condition, whatever it may be. Who knows? Only you know. And there's nothing wrong about your dream. There's nothing wrong about having such dream. But just remember one thing. Do it for the glory of God. Do it for the glory of God. And believe that God is always with you. If your dream is for God, if your dream is to glorify God, whatever it could be, if you're doing it for God, then you will go through whatever Joseph is going through. At the same time, you will have a result that Joseph had. So it is my challenge for every one of us here today. Have a dream. Keep dreaming. Dream on. But do it for the glory of God. And never give up. Never give up. Have faith. Be faithful to God. Be righteous before God. When you do, like Joseph did, He will take care of you. So it is my prayer and hope that all of us here today who heard the message, the story of Joseph, dream, but dream in God. Let's pray.